That is a nice fish, mate. That's probably one of the best I've had out of here in a long time. Yes. Welcome everybody to the Warwickshire Avon. Myself, Jimmy Sallis, and all round good looking, muscle bound cameraman, fisherman extraordinaire Rob Hall is with me, and we are fishing, or attempting to fish, for Zander. Over the next few sessions on the Avon and out on the River Severn, we're going to have a go at fishing for them in a couple of different styles. We're going to do some tip fishing, but today we're using ledger dead baits on the deck in the middle of a big weir. Not so much a conventional Zander swim, but they're there. I've caught them in the past when I've been pike fishing, and since then I've carried on and had to go for them and done quite well here. So we're going to wait for dark. Water's a bit clear, it's been a bit bright. Wait for dark and hopefully we can put some Zander on the bank. So with the Zander fishing on the river, it's pretty basic stuff. We use a free running rig, quite a heavy lead because you don't want that moving when you get a pickup, bump bead, and then I use 15-pound wire. There is a chance of pike, so we don't want to get bitten off. On that wire we've got a size 4 Korum all-rounder hook that is it's like knotless, knotted on, like hair rig style, and on the bottom of that I believe that's a size 6 treble. Onto that, either a whole roach, live roach, or in this case I've just got a half roach. One in the lip and one in the body, so it sits like that. So if the fish picks up the back or the head, there's hook points. That's fished, low resistance. Not on a bait runner necessarily, I've got a back dropper on. I'm pretty good at being sat on my rod, so if I get a bite, give it a chance to have a swim off with it and reel down and hopefully get a fish on the bank. Didn't take long, Rob, after the recast. It is all about the dart down here. Hopefully it's not one of our eely friends. If it is, it's huge. Couple of snags down here I need to keep him out of. She's heading towards what we got. The Zander. Whoa! Shaky leg time. No. Come closer to you a bit, Rob. He's trying his best to get me into one of these snags. Trying to keep it away from the other rod as well. Doesn't look very well hooked. Yeah, it is a good fish. Yes, Rob. That is a nice fish, mate. That's probably one of the best I've had out of here in a long time. Yes. Okay, let's give it a rest and get the other rod in. And wow, I'm happy with that, mate. Just a single hook in its chops as well. The treble's gone into the net. Half a roach. It's good, isn't it, mate? Yes. Let's give it a rest then. Oh, panic over. It's quite short, but it's got a gut on it. My light causing you a problem, Rob? Or? I said 9.2. It's 9.2.
No.
It is. Nine 9.2. So that's it. Little half a roach. We rechucked just after dark. We haven't had a knock all afternoon. Been here in the light. As soon as it got dark, freshened up the baits, rechucked out, and we've been rewarded with a lovely Warwickshire Avon, Warwickshire Avon Zander. Just over £9, £9.2. So I say it's a good 9. But yeah, real nice fish, clean fish. See if we can get a look at that fin. Beautiful. Got the other rod out still, but that one hasn't moved. This ripped off. No warning of a bite, just picked up the bait. More of a pike bite than a Zander bite. Just picked up the bait and it was gone. So we'll get some pictures, give her a rest, make sure she's happy enough, plenty of life in her, and we'll get her back. It's worth coming out. So with the session on the River Avon behind us and a success, fast forward a couple of months and what seems like a completely different season, and we're on the River Severn. This time I'm joined by Rob Hall and we're both going to have a crack at them. So here we are, we've made it down the River Severn. I wasn't quite sure where I was going this morning because I've never bank fished the Severn. I've been on a boat doing some lure fishing, but never done it from the bank. So similar tactics, I think, Rob.
Yeah, very similar tactics. We're going to move around a lot, cover as much water as we possibly can.
Because we want to try and find the fish, don't we?
Yeah, that's the most important thing, is trying to find the fish. They're going to be held up somewhere. The conditions are against us a bit today, aren't they, mate?
Yeah, I mean, we got here this morning. Wasn't sure whether my van was gonna make it into the field, but found Rob. We got in. He was raring to go. So we've hopped a couple of swims up already. Started this morning. It was cold, wasn't it?
It was cold. It's been frosty overnight, and again, it's been cold for a few weeks now. The pressure's been through the roof.
It has.
Fishing's been hard.
Yeah, I mean, I did well on the Avon a few weeks ago with barbel and the chub, and even did well on the pike, but there was a lot more colour in it then, and since that colour's dropped out of it, it's gone very difficult.
It has dropped out, especially on the Severn in particular. It's dropped out quite a bit now. It's very deep out there. You're probably looking at, I mean, it's taking forever for that lead to drop down.
Well,
it's probably a good 15, 16 foot, I'd say.
We're fishing 4-ounce leads, and if you wang it and you fish it down on a tight line, you can feel it swing right in, and it takes a long time to hit the deck.
Yeah, it almost lands about 2 rod lengths out, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's very deep.
It is deep.
But that might do us a few favours because it's going to be dark down there. But at the minute, as you can probably see, the sun is absolutely blaring.
I know. I mean, if I was in a t-shirt, you'd think it was the middle of summer, but it's not. It's cold. It is cold.
The sun's not going to help us today. I think if we've got any sort of chance today, it's going to come as that sun starts to set.
I think when we, as you saw on the Avon in the first part of the video, I think we fished that from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon until about 9 o'clock at night, and I think the bite come at about 5 to 9.
Yeah, it is.
So dusk into dark for me is the most productive time. But while we've got the time and you know, the daylight, it would be nice to get one on the bank in the daylight. But
luckily, it does get dark a lot earlier now. It's sort of like what, 4:30, 5 o'clock at the minute.
Yeah.
So we haven't got to wait too long.
No, we haven't got to fish late into the night. It's nice to get here in the day, and it's nice to have a look at a stretch, especially if you've not been to before. So then, if you do have any success, you can always come down and fish with a bit more confidence when it's a bit darker, maybe.
Yeah, I think we've certainly learned a lot, haven't we, from fishing the Avon. I say the Severn is a slightly different animal. There's a lot more tow here in the current, so
snags.
A lot more snags.
I've found a couple already.
Yeah, I seem to find a lot of them. A lot more snags. I find a lot more snags than I do fish.
Yeah, we do well on the snags, and one of the things that we'll show you later on is why we tend to fish so heavy on these rivers. Is because of the snags. There is a reason for that. I've got 60-pound braid on 2 of the rods, and it's every time I've been snagged up today, I've got traces back straight in the hook. So that's exactly what you want to be doing. You don't want to be leaving baited hooks out in the middle of the river. But a couple of rods out each today. Keep moving.
Yeah, Jimmy, you've got a tip rod out at the minute, and you've got another rod out on alarms. Yeah. I've just got 2 rods out on alarms at the moment. I have got a tip rod in the car, but at the minute I've decided not to use it at the moment. But we'll talk about how we set them up. There's a few
why we use them as well.
There's a few little tips as well which we can give you, which will hopefully help you put a few more fish on the bank as well. Because there's a few small little things that we do which really do make the difference.
That we've learnt as well, doing this. You know, it's not like we started out knowing what we know now, and of course we'll continue to learn a lot more. They feel like the impossible species to figure out.
Yeah, they can be very, very frustrating, and you will miss probably more bites than you actually hit into. Yeah. But they do take some working out, and there is a few things you can do to help improve your catch rate. But even saying that, we still miss bites all the time.
Yeah, and I think
it does happen.
I think it helps. Even I always say to you, don't I? You know, I just want to bite. Yeah. I just want a sign of a fish. If you can get the signs of the fish, you know you're in the right area.
100%.
You can change around baits and how you present them and potentially put a fish on the bank. But at the moment, there's not been much signs of anything. No. But we'll crack on.
I'll be honest, I kind of expected that today anyway. Yeah, we have had a few sort of indications, haven't we, that there's fish here. A few little rattles on the rod tip and stuff, but nothing really committing yet. It might have just been small fish, which you do tend to get pestered.
You're away.
That's my alarm. Yeah, he's away.
I brought the camera, but I don't know if it's doing anything. Oh,
I've got sticks.
Dear, you've caught my disease.
Oh shit. Well, have I though? But I've got no bait.
No bait, and that's not the kind of stick that's going to be going down the river on its own. That's straight off the deck, so it's probably spat it and you've reeled into that.
More bag.
All that excitement, and you caught a stick. Cup of tea, I think. But yeah, that's the sign that we want. We want a bite. We want a run. The bait was gone, so we're hoping it wasn't that stick coming downstream. There's a lot of vegetation on it, so it looked like it'd been there a while. But we'll crack on, see how we get on. But fingers crossed, prayers for dark. Amen. So after the excitement of that stick that Rob caught, I've decided to have a double reset on my rods, and I'm going to quickly show you the tip setup that I use for the Zander. It's very basic. I often liken it to barbel fishing with a trace on the end. So I'll go through what I've got. I've got a 6,000 latitude reel that's loaded with, I think, 15-pound mono. This, I've got on this the 1 3/4 tip. This is the trilogy rod. Comes with 3 tips. I think a 4 ounce, a 1 3/4 and a 2.2. You could fish the 2.2, but the bite registration through the 1 3/4 is nice. Very simple stuff on the rig end. As I say, it's very similar to barbel fishing in a way. I've got a free running lead there, which goes up to a bump bead. Something that's heavy enough to hold bottom and anchor that bait in place. You don't want the lead moving when the fish picks up the bait. You want it to run through those rubber rings nicely. A bump stop, a clip swivel, and then a trace that I've tied myself with 2 size 6 trebles on it. And then we just hook either half a big roach or a whole roach. That is chucked out as normal, rod high in the sky, and you're just looking for those bounces. One of the things we've learned, and one of the tips that I could say we could give you with these rods is on the ledger rods that we've got on the deck, the heavy gear, we do tend to miss quite a lot of bites. The fish pick up the bait and they move off with it and they eject it for whatever reason. You see that pick up and the bites instantly through this tip. It's a soft enough tip for them not to really feel it, and it's really sensitive way of fishing for them. You do have to keep your eyes on the tip. You can't even put an alarm on it really with this because they don't steam off. You want to see the rod bouncing and tapping, and then you've got to be on it, pick the rod up and away you go. But very simple stuff. Roach, mackerel, live baits, anything really on there, and keep moving, same as you would for barbel again. Keep moving and see what you can find. But we're going to get this one back out. I'm going to reach up my other ledger rod, and when we get that out I'll show you that one.
Right, so I've just put my rod in to have a recast. So I thought while I do that I'll just show you how I set up my ledger rig. It's really quite simple. I've got a 5 ounce lead on there. I'll explain why I use such a heavy lead in a minute, and that's just down to one of our run ring kits. And then below that you've got the swivel, and I like to attach. I've got a short length of strong coated braid there. Now you can use fluorocarbon, a strong thick fluorocarbon. I wouldn't use uncoated braid because it will 100% tangle. Coated braid is fine, it's quite stiff. I use that because I want that roach to sit quite far away from the lead, but I don't want to use that much wire. It's just a waste of wire. You don't really need that much wire to do this. I've got that down to a little quick change clip so I can quickly change my traces, and then I've got a trace of about 14 inches, something like that. Size 6 trebles. I tie these myself. I do like to use a fine wire on the trebles. I don't like to go too thick because they just become even harder to open up if you get snagged up. I know if that goes into a snag, those hooks are going to open fairly easily and I'm going to get everything back. The bait is just secured on there with a little bait flag on the back, just so as I don't lose any bait on the cast. That's quite a small bait at the moment. What I do tend to find is small baits are usually quite good for finding the fish, because you'll get bites from the schoolies, what I like to call them, the small fish. If I start getting missed runs, then I'll swap over to a bigger bait, sort of like 6 to 8 inches, something like that. And then often you do pick out the bigger fish doing it like that. And I'm not saying big fish won't take small baits, because they will, 100%. But if you've got a lot of small fish in the swim, you guarantee that they're going to pick it up before the big one. So you're going to get a lot of missed runs, and it's going to be quite frustrating for you. So I'm going to cast this in there, and then I'll explain to you why I use such a heavy lead, because there's 2 reasons why I do that.
Just before you do that, Rob, we said earlier that we've changed a lot and we've learnt a lot from when we started doing this underfishing.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you would say you've changed on that rig and the way you fish it, and that set up to what you did from the start? So what change have you made that you now will always do?
Yeah, so I think the main change I've made was to go with a really heavy lead. Like I say, there's 2 reasons why I do that. The first one is because as the fish picks that up, if you use quite a light lead, they've got a chance of lifting the lead up off the bottom. The heavier that is, the more chance that the line's got to come through it. It'll pull it out the clip first before that even moves.
So that's your anchor. You want that in place, and you want that not to move. So similar to what I'm doing on the quiver tip, you don't want it moving.
Of course. I'll explain the other reason once I've cast it out, because I need to be by the by the alarm to explain why I do that.
So in short, you're fishing a lot tighter than you were at the start.
100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Let's get this cast in, and then I'll explain the other little things that you can do just to increase your chances of landing the fish. Okay, so there's one thing I actually forgot to mention on that. I'm using a lead at the minute, but you can also use a combi feeder, which is usually my preferred method, but I haven't got anything heavy enough. The flow's a bit too strong here. I don't really want to use a 2 ounce. If anything, I want to use a 4 or 5 ounce feeder. What I usually do with that, I just fill it with dead fish just to get a bit of a scent trail going in the water, and it really works quite well actually. A lot better than just a lead and a fish on its own.
I've seen you as well, Rob, using your baiting needle, your syringe.
Yeah, I use a syringe quite a lot. When you buy dead baits, you often get a lot of blood left over in the pack where it comes out the fish. Don't let it go to waste. Just stick your needle in the bag and just draw it back out and just pump it back into the fish, because, like I say, once the fish has been out there a while and it's leaked, you just want to keep topping it up. It's just little things like that can help you.
Top tip.
Top tip, yeah. So I've actually forgot to pierce this. I've just pierced it with the hook, and a bit of blood's come out already. So let's cast this in now. The sun's right in my eyes.
It's bright today, Rob.
Very bright. Now, Zander, as a rule, they're not really going to be sat in the edge with a pike. Almost imagine you're fishing for barbel. They're going to be out sort of not right in the flow, but just sort of off a crease or a bit further down the ledge. So I'm casting into the middle of the river, and I'm letting that come down on a tight line. That'll help bring the bait back towards the lead. Now let's hit the bottom.
That's keeping everything straight as well, isn't it, Rob,
Yeah.
on the cast? Keeping everything straight so you know it's going down in a straight line.
As you put it down on the rest, you want to bring the line tight. Turn that down a minute. Now this moves me on to the next reason I use such a heavy lead. You want to make sure when you put your rod in the rest that your line is pointing towards where your lead is, or you want to get it coming out of the rod tip as straight as you can. If you've got any sort of angle on it, you're going to get rattles on the tip, and it's going to affect how easy it pulls out the clip. So just move your rod rest round to face the line as best you can, and what I like to do is I'll pull the line with my fingers until I feel the tension change. It still feels fairly tight, but I know I'm not right down to the lead. There's still a lot of slack there. I want to bring all that in until I feel a change. Now that feels tighter. So then I'm just going to wind that back onto the reel. Without getting in a mess.
Nicely saved.
It's a little bit too tight, so give it a little bit back out. And then I'm going to put it into the clip on the rod. So we've got quite a bit of undertow. So you want to pull it right into the clip. Now that is bowstring tight. So I know as soon as a fish picks that up, I'm going to get indication straight away. It's probably going to come flying out the clip. If you've got a bow in your line, if you don't take up that slack, what's going to happen is the fish is going to pick that bait up, it's going to eject it, and you're not going to know at all. You're not going to get any indication on the alarm, you're going to see nothing, and you're going to get done all day, and you're not going to even know about it. So
It's going to be pulling the slack in the bow, isn't it?
It's pulling the slack on the bow, and it's probably going to eject it by the time you've even had any indication on the rod. You might get the odd little rattle, but by then it's probably too late.
So another top tip: point your rod at your bait as best you can.
Yeah, I mean I'm up off the water at the minute, so my line is going down. But sometimes you will get a little taps on the rod tip. If you do get down, you haven't had any bleeps on the alarms. Just pay to just keep an eye on the tip anyway. Pick your rod up. What I sometimes tend to do is I pick the rod up and I'll hold the line tight to the lead or the feeder, and as soon as I feel a pluck, I'll hit it straight away. I don't let the bites develop. If it pulls out the clip, I'll wind down and I'll hit it straight away. Zander are very crafty. They'll eject it really easily. So you're sort of missing the opportunity. You want to hit it straight away to give you the best chance of actually landing the fish. Like I say, you can still miss the odd bite. Like I say, small fish will pull it out of the clip and they'll be gone anyway. So that's fishing. Hopefully, we're going to bag one.
Prayer to the fish gods. What happened, Rob?
Okay, so as you can see, it's dark now. I've just had a tap on the rod tip. Didn't pull it out of the clip. I picked the rod up, had the line in my fingers, felt another little pluck. So I hit it, fish was on, and then it was off. Brought the bait in, big puncture wound in the side. So I've just cast it back in again, and I'm hoping it's going to come back, and I'm literally just sat here with the line in between my fingers, just waiting to feel a pluck, and if I feel one, I'm going to hit it straight away. So fingers crossed it's going to come back. So, Jimmy, we're back on the Severn again.
Yeah, take two.
Take two. The last session didn't quite get to plan, did it?
No, it didn't, and I mean, we had the session on the Avon, and that was what felt like autumn time. A lot of green about still, and the river was right. We came last week here, and it was a hard frost.
It was freezing, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely freezing.
Freezing. We both lost fish. 100% lost fish. We had the baits come back with puncture marks in, telltale Zander sign. I actually had one on at one point and it come off. It got to dark. I sort of had an indication, but nothing really came of it, did it?
Big twang on the rod tip.
Yeah, I actually came back to do some of my own fishing on the weekend following that session, and I had two fish from this stretch.
Without the camera?
Without the cameras. I only took photos, but I had one about this big. I probably could have put it back on the trebles and cast it back in. And then I had a nice one, about 6 or 7 pound, which is fairly small really for the Severn.
We'd take it today though.
But I'll tell you what, we take it today.
We would. It's been tough again.
The conditions today, we woke up this morning and we were like, it could be really good today.
Yeah.
The air pressure's gone down a little bit.
Yeah.
Temperatures are shot up, as you can see. I'm in my t-shirt this time.
Well, it's about 11 degrees today, and last week it was about -2.
Yeah.
It's like 13 degrees warmer.
It feels like summer today.
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm in my t-shirt and I'm roasting. So far, you've had a couple of pike, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had 3 pikes. I've had 1 on the lures and 2 on the dead baits.
Yeah.
But that's just come through moving around again.
Yeah.
I've moved for the 3rd time. I think you're on about your 3rd swim, aren't you? And
yeah, I'm on about my 3rd swim. I've lost a fish in this swim already. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it comes back. Not sure what it was. It was quite hard to tell from the bite mark in its tail. It was could have been either a small jack or it could have been a Zander. But hopefully we'll have some more signs pretty soon, because it's been very slow.
As always, we're looking forward to dark, but if it's been as quiet as today, we're not in for much action. We'll see.
So, should we just have a look at your pike then from earlier, Jim, seeing as that's the only bit of action we've had so far?
It is the only action we've had so far, so yeah, let's have a look at that.
Let's have a look at that now. So what you got there, Jimmy?
Not the intended species. Picked up a huge roach, intended for the Zander, but I'm not complaining. Big pike. Should we get it up and have a look?
Let's have a look.
There it is, big roach muncher. I tend to be able to catch these better than the Zander, but I'm not complaining. It's a nice fish. We'll get it back, Rob. Karen trying to catch some Zander and catch some more pike probably. So after a really tough morning down on the Severn, we've decided to give ourselves probably what we think is the best chance of a fish today. We've headed to a different section of river. We've done well here in the past. The conditions aren't the same as what they are when we've done well in the past, but we thought we needed to get that zander in the net, so we've headed to where we think it gives ourselves the best chance of a fish. Same approach, a couple of deadbait rods each, but this time we're going to fish into the evening and into dark, and hopefully we can get that fish in the net.
Pike. I've got to be honest, the way that was fighting, I thought we'd hooked his head straight away, but it's not to be. We've got a pike again. Nuisance fish these are.
They are today.
The jack as well. It's not even that big.
No, I'm stopping recording.
Stop recording.
I am. So it's finally gone off on the tip rod. We're well into dark now. It's only small. It was messing about with it for ages. Oh, but it's a zander. That took some work, that did.
Been grueling on it, mate.
Terrible.
Absolutely grueling.
We've had bigger baits out and they've done nothing all day. We've switched to the much smaller baits, knowing there's a chance of a schoolie, but we just wanted to get something in the net. And it's nice it's come on the tip as well. I saw it dancing for ages, it was messing about with it. I picked the rod up and it was not there, and then yeah, it was sure on then. So
you missed a bite on your ledger rod as well.
Yeah,
didn't you, just before.
Yeah, it screamed off.
Absolute screaming take, struck into it, nothing.
Fresh air. So
I've had a few little taps, but nothing really sort of since it's been dark. I think there's a lot of small fish here, isn't there, mate?
There is, yeah, and I think, like I said, we knew switching to the smaller baits was probably going to produce a smaller fish, and obviously there's still a chance for big fish, but with how it was last week in the frost and how it's been today, we just wanted a fish in the net, didn't we? So let's have a look at it. It's not very big, but we'll have a look.
So it looks like you need a bit of help holding that, mate. It's an absolute monster. I mean, look at the gut on it. I mean, it's huge, isn't it?
It's hard to hold. No, in all seriousness,
it's been so hard, hasn't it, mate?
After today,
they've been so finicky with the baits, like messing around with it for ages.
Yeah.
I think there seems to be a lot of these small ones about. Generally, when you hook a bigger one, you hook them, like, you know. You get these guys, you get so many missed runs off them.
Mouthing the baits. I had that one on the tip, and it was, like I said, it was.
He was messing around with it for a good 20 minutes.
For ages, and I'd pick it up.
Back, spitting it out, coming back again.
But look, Rob, it's a zander. It's not. It's not a monster.
These are the ones that frustrate you all day.
Yep.
Pulling out the clip and then you striking into thin air. It's these guys. But we've got one.
We've got one.
Not from the Severn, unfortunately, like we wanted, but.
No, but we knew what we were doing coming here, and we knew there was a chance of something like this. But as I said, we had that one on the Avon, which was nice earlier on in the year, and
I've got to be honest. I think I fancy our chances more here than on the Severn.
Yeah.
So we should get this one back.
Yeah, let's get it one back. Give it another half an hour, and
we'll give it a little half an hour, but I think that might be the ending fish, to be honest with you, mate. The way it's been.
I think so.
Just wrapping up, and it's a slightly bigger fish, but I'll take that.
Where's your net?
It's just there. I need to grab my net.
Yeah.
That wasn't a screaming take, it was almost just like bleep, 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 and then I've just hit it straight away. No messing. Get in the net. Oh yes.
Just as we filmed just as we shook hands and we're going to call it a day.
Can't believe that.
I can't.
Cannot believe it.
I mean, the rods have done
nothing.
No.
It's been grueling.
I'm huffing and puffing because I just ran up the bank to you. I don't know what this filming's like, but we shall see.
God knows.
I've got the microphone on, so I'm probably too loud and Rob's probably too quiet, but
I've got this on, so this might be all right. But
let's have a look.
yeah, this is bigger than the last one. And the light is poor, guys, but we've literally just taken some photos. And where the rod's gone, that's a much better fish as well. Yes! Yeah. Well, I say it's much better, it's about the same. Well, how about that for a finish, Jim?
Unbelievable, mate. It's been so tough all day and last week in that frost, and we've persevered today. We have pulled a bit of a joker card and come to where we knew there was fish on the Avon, but
we just wanted to catch some fish for you guys and show you that the tactics we employ do work when there's fish there. But there's definitely more fish in this stretch, and we knew going to the Severn was a bit of a risk, especially going to a stretch we'd not really fished.
Yeah, we know
a lot. We know more about this stretch. We know where the fish are, and I've got to be honest though. At one point, mate, I thought it wasn't going to happen.
It's been crazy, mate. I mean, the bait's being out at dusk. It was lovely light earlier, and we thought it was going to happen. And
you had that small fish, and we were literally just about to pack up.
Yeah.
And then my right-hand rod went, and then we sorted that fish out, done some pictures, and then the other one went. So now we've got two.
Yes, it's nice. It's nice. Two from Rob, but
a very nice fitting end.
It is.
To what's been
It's been brilliant.
Couple of weeks.
It has.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've learned a few things. Go out yourself, catch some of these beautiful fish.
But yeah, stick at it. Perseverance is what's proved to be our success today. We've kept at it, and yeah, give it a go. You will have some.
Hope to see you on the bank sometime.